The Lakers of Mercyhurst are coming to Morgantown in a bit of a get-right game for the West Virginia Mountaineers, who are going to look to bounce back from that two-game skid in Charleston a week ago. We're going to have you covered here on this episode of Mountaineer Moment with a game preview of the West Virginia Mountaineers and the Mercyhurst Lakers. This is the Mountaineer Moment, your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. From pregame to postgame coverage and breaking news, we've got you covered. Let's go. All right, welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Mountaineer Moment, your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. My name is Troy, and this is episode number 103, West Virginia basketball edition, as West Virginia gets set to do battle with Mercyhurst on the hardwood, coming off of, again, a week off, leaving a sour taste in their mouth, I'm sure of it, after that two-game skid in Charleston, and now they get a bit of a get-right game is how we're going to call this one, an opportunity for West Virginia to get back in the win column, an opportunity to fix some things that you didn't like, and so we'll talk about some of those specific things that we desire to see out of West Virginia in this game coming up on Sunday afternoon game, 3 o'clock on ESPN+, so be sure to check out the action. Obviously, of course, on Mountaineer Moment, we'll have you covered with post-game coverage as well following the game, so be sure to come on back and find us here on Mountaineer Moment breaking down West Virginia's performance against Mercyhurst. If you're not yet subscribed to Mountaineer Moment, I don't know what you're doing. Join the Mountaineer Moment movement. Be a part of what we are doing here. Again, 103 episodes in 3 months. We started this thing in late August. Obviously, it is the end of November now. It's still rolling right along. So continuing to produce content, continuing to release episodes daily, and we want you to be a part of this. So hit that subscribe button for us and join this growing community. So this episode is one that's been kind of popular for us here on Mountaineer Moment, so we're going to continue to do them. Just a preview, 15-minute episode or so. I don't know what they've been in the past, but this one will probably be around there. Breaking down the Mountaineer opponent, a preview episode talking about things to look for, some names to know, some numbers to look at, and some things to watch for from the Mountaineers' perspective against the individual, the opponent that they have on their schedule. This one just so happens to be Mercyhurst. So we're going to start with them, just where they're at this point in the season, how they got here, who they have on their team, and that sort of thing. So Mercyhurst, the Lakers, they sit at 3-4, part of the NEC conference, and they were projected to finish 4th out of 10 teams in that preseason poll in the NEC. And they started their season against Northwestern, power conference opponent, obviously, a loss 70-47. They currently overall sit at 3-4, but that's their toughest opponent that they've played has been Northwestern, 70-47 loss. They're coming off of back-to-back losses to Miami of Ohio in a 5-point loss and a loss at Marshall, 69-60. So consecutive losses there. Also a loss against Canisius, 58-55. So 3 relatively close losses, single-digit losses for them. Wins against Loyola Chicago, Morgan State, and a get-right game for them against some sort of team from Penn State, not Penn State, that we know, another team, 93-43, they beat them. But 3 wins, 4 losses, and 3 of those losses outside from Northwestern in close games. So the loss against Marshall, West Virginia, our little brother, 69-60 again is their game that they're coming off of just about a week ago prior to Thanksgiving. And in that game, if you just compare, the team numbers, Marshall shot it really, really well from 3, 12 for 29. Mercyhurst 3 of 16, so that's something to keep an eye on. Obviously, West Virginia coming off of a game a week ago against Xavier, who couldn't seem to miss, 16 for 25, I think it was, from 3. Literally just couldn't seem to miss. First half and second half putting up great numbers. Mercyhurst just 9 of 16 free throws. They were out-rebounded by Marshall by 2. They had a lot of points in the paint. They had 34 points in the paint compared to 18 for Marshall, and Marshall's biggest lead was 13, finishing with a 9-point victory. Did the Thundering Herd, who are off to a 5-1 start this year, their lone loss coming in a 104-78 loss to Virginia. But Mercyhurst, obviously, again, they've played Northwestern, and then they've played some other quality D1 programs, of course, and they sit at 3-4. That's how they've gotten to this point. They're playing again on the road, obviously, in Morgantown after trips to Miami of Ohio and Marshall, but another trip to West Virginia when they'll play the Mountaineers on Sunday afternoon. That's how they got here. And then as far as who they have on this team, they returned several guys from last year's squad. Bernie Blunt the third is a guard for them. He's averaging close to 17 points a game. He's really he's a senior. He's been there, done that at Mercyhurst. Transferred originally from Quinnipiac, but spent the last 2 years at Mercyhurst. Averaged 12.5 a game, up to 17 points per game this season. Shoots almost 6 threes a game, knocking about 35% of them down. So be on the lookout for that, making about a couple a game. He's a scorer, right? Almost 17 points a game for the 5'11 guard, not even 2 assists per game for Bernie Blunt, the third guard, number 4 for Mercyhurst, who's going to look to get him the ball early and often. Overall, they only have a couple guys in double figures this season, with a couple that are up there in the single digits, approaching 10 points a game. The other one is another guard, Jake Lemmelman, a sophomore guard who spent last season at Mercyhurst averaging 5 a game, but this year he's averaging 14 points, a couple rebounds, and a couple assists for him, and shooting it pretty well from 3, almost 37% on just about 4.5 attempts from 3 per game for Lemmelman, and he's number 11, the guard for Mercyhurst. Some other names to know for you. They've got a couple guys as far as their bigs. You got a 6'8 forward and a 6'5 forward. So their size, something that we can look to exploit West Virginia with the big 7-footer Harlan Obioha. But those guys, a couple forwards averaging close to 10 points and 6 rebounds, 9.6 rebounds a game. Deshaun Jackson Jr., another guy, averaging 7 points, another guard, 6'2 guard, 2 boards, 2 assists a game for him as well. All right. This team, just a few statistics that kind of stick out for you to just know as you're watching this game. In the NEC, obviously we're not in conference play yet, but as far as the 10 teams in the NEC rank, Mercyhurst is the best defensively, allowing just 64.7 points per game. Are the Mercyhurst Lakers, so up there amongst the best in the conference defensively. They shoot it the 4th best in the conference as far as field goal percentage, over 45% per game from the floor for Mercyhurst. All right, so those are a few things, a few numbers, a few names to just be on the lookout for. Obviously, again, as expected, as you might have known already, before watching this video, that West Virginia would have a size advantage, and you want to see them exploit that, right? That might be a little preview of things to watch for. You want to see West Virginia's size dominate against this team. Another thing, we'll just continue with that trend right now, things to watch for, and then we'll talk about what this game really means for West Virginia. But as far as other things to keep an eye out for, to keep notice of, is West Virginia obviously coming off 2 losses, and you're coming off a game where a team just shot lights out from 3. Now, Mercyhurst, not the best 3-point shooting team that you're going to see all season, but we mentioned a couple guys, their 2 leading scorers, get up 4 or 5 3-pointers a game. And you can bet that they know that Xavier just exploited you from deep, and you can bet that they're going to be trying to do the same thing. So that's something to keep an eye on, is how is this West Virginia team going to defend the 3 ball? And not just in terms of, all right, game's over, box score, how'd they do? Well, Mercyhurst shot, 7 for 28 from 3. So that's better. Like it goes beyond even just the box score, but just the eye test. Are you giving up open looks, right? Because you gave up plenty of good looks to Xavier, and they made some, banked one in, and they made some crazy shots too en route to 16 of 25 from three. However, you gotta play better defense. You gotta defend the three better, and so keep an eye on that. Beyond the box score, is West Virginia giving up open looks? Because you might give up 15 open looks, and they might only make 2 of them. That doesn't mean your defense was just that good. It means that they just didn't capitalize on opportunities that you were giving them offensively for that team. So how's West Virginia going to defend the three? I think that's a major, major, major storyline. I think another storyline that'll lead us into that, just this fact that it's a get-right game for West Virginia. Another storyline is you need to beat this team. Like, you need not just win the game, but you need to beat them convincingly. I think that Mountaineer fans getting a little anxious, a little upset, still, a sour taste in their mouth, as well as the players and the coaches from, going to Charleston and going 0-2. But now you're back in Morgantown, and you need to play well. Offensively, where that'll lead into, where's the scoring going to come from? Who's it going to be? Obviously, Mountaineers have had several different leading scorers over the course of their 5-2 start to the season. Eagle staff finally, showed some promise against Xavier in that 20-point effort for him in the 10-point loss. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to come from? You would love for, Harlan Obioha to get back and play well and boost his confidence. Belo and Jasper Floyd, right? There's some people upset with Floyd lately, or, Amir Jenkins. How's he going to play? Will we see Eagle staff start again? Chance Moore's back. Jackson Fields apparently, is going to be back. And, how's that going to factor into the rotation? We've talked about that too on Mountaineer Moment. Like, this team, its depth is a good problem, but Ross Hodge is going to be the guy that's got to figure that out. Rotations, lineups, see how that's going to work. Work out the kinks with throwing some new guys into the rotation. So keep an eye on that as well. But where's the scoring going to come from? Will it be a balanced attack? Will it be, another guy going off for 20? Because in 5 of the Mountaineers' 7 games so far, it has been a different leading scorer going for 20-plus points. Jasper Floyd in the opener. Honor Huff against Campbell. Lorient Belo went for 26 against Lehigh. Thomas went for 25 against Lafayette. Eagle staff went for 20 against Xavier. So where's the scoring going to come from? How are they going to go about getting their buckets? And you want to see an efficient offense. You just do. You want to see this Mountaineer team run their offense with efficiency. Not to harp on the Charleston Classic too much, but for the larger portion of that game against Clemson in that opening game, you liked what you saw, right? Aside from the last 6 minutes, you liked what you saw offensively and defensively. How can we look like that and play it out for a full 40 minutes? How can we look like that and play it out for a full 40 minutes? Keep an eye on that. And again, lastly, where we'll end this show, and this episode 103, is West Virginia. This is an opportunity to take a breath, to get right, to get back in the win column, right? And that losing streak at 2 and start a new winning streak here as you go 1-0, right? 1-0 on Sunday afternoon, and then you look ahead to another opportunity on Wednesday as we enter into December against Coppin State. Obviously, we'll have you covered here with a preview of that. And then Saturday, you get Wake Forest, who's no slouch. And so this is an opportunity over these next 2 games to get right, get focused, work out the kinks, work out those defensive rotations, figure out your offensive flow, figure out where your scoring is going to come from, play with consistency, play with fire, play with discipline on defense. These are why you play these non-conference games that you should, quote-unquote, should win. Right, this is why you play those games, because before you know it, West Virginia, in just over a month, as crazy as it sounds, you're going to be in the thick of Big 12 conference play. And you're starting with Iowa State on the road, then Cincinnati, Kansas, Houston, Colorado, Arizona State, Arizona. Like, it doesn't let up. This is a deep conference. This is a talented conference, and you need to weed out those mistakes. You need to get right now so you don't got to get right later. Not to say that conference play ain't going to be without its challenges and new developments and things you got to learn from even within that. But the less that we can go into conference play with major concerns, or the less concerns we can go into conference play with, I should say, the better for this team. So over these next two, against Mercyhurst, against Coppin State, take care of business, play well, and learn from your mistakes, right? I mean, there's an opportunity in there for this for this early season November tournament where you went 0-2 to be a blessing in disguise, to be an opportunity to say, you know what, we got punched in the mouth a little bit. We got to learn from it. We got to learn from our mistakes and get better. And there's an opportunity to do that right here against Mercyhurst. So I expect fire. I expect good defensive intensity and discipline and a Mountaineer win. So that's what we're hoping for. Again, this is episode number 103. A bit of a get-right game for the Mountaineers against Mercyhurst coming up on Sunday afternoon. Of course, we'll have you covered here on Mountaineer Moment with post-game coverage and analysis on episode 104 coming your way very, very soon. If you're not already, hit that subscribe button for us, and we'll see you next time on Mountaineer Moment.